Thank you so much. You have the three of us here today. I'm Mike Powery, the CEO of Cloudwave. We are a Amazon go-to partner for the incredibly exciting Amazon Connect technology. And we've built a whole raft of services to help enable customers, enable partners to get that time to value really accelerated, and to be able to day one access this 300 odd microservices under the hood. We give the levers back to the business folks rather than having to call on IT every time a move out or change. Our business consists of only contact center and CX aficionados. So everybody has spent a long time, longer than I'd like to admit publicly, working in contact center land. And with that, I might hand over to Dane, our CTO, to introduce himself.
Thanks, Mike. Hi, everyone. I'm Dane Maddox, CTO at Cloudwave. I've been in the contact center industry for about 20 years. Worked in dozens of contact center deployments, Amazon Connect, Genesys Cloud, Genesys Engage, and before that, via Nortel, Cisco, etc. And internally at Cloudwave, I work with an amazing team bringing NEONNOW product suite to life. I also lead the security practice, help maintain our ISO 27001 certification, and also get involved in complex customer deployments.
Thank you, Dane. And just to keep this amusing, to give you guys a bit of a personal view, what's your favourite movie?
Favourite movie would be probably Interstellar. I love the sort of sciencey, mind-bending side to it. It's also got the personal side, and it's also a Hans Zimmer special, so I love the music as well.
That makes sense, my friend. Andre Lizarraga, dear sir, would you introduce yourself, please, for the crowd?
Of course, absolutely. So, hello everyone. Andre Lizarraga here. I'm the technical leader for distribution partners across APJ. So most of my days I spend it on calls with distribution partners across New Zealand, Australia, India, Japan, Korea, and all the countries in ASEAN. I've been with AWS for almost 10 years right now. So I think some of the pieces of furniture here have a less tenure than me. And been in various organizations across AWS. So I went from support, I did solutions architecture for ISV partners, for digital native businesses. Now I'm part of the distribution team. And as you know, or as probably most of you have read in the press, AWS has a keen focus on artificial intelligence as of maybe 2023, 2024. And just to answer your fun question, right? What is my favorite movie? I would put it as Godfather. As you can see, I love the suits, so I would stick with Godfather.
That's perfect. And
the first one was my favorite, though.
Suits you. All right, brilliant, Tony Soprano, and thank you. All right, so let's kick off without further ado. We have some exciting topics. We're going to flash those up on the screen right now. Before we do that, sorry, you should get some Uber Eats hitting your inbox very soon. So please go and enjoy a nice lunch or dinner on us. We have some US friends on the call, as well as Oz and all over the world. So very exciting. Enjoy your Uber Eats. Okay, moving right along. 8 topics that we will go through in semi-rapid fire. We're going to keep it very conversational. We're going to make sure there's exciting dialogue and a really good angle from myself, but more importantly, Dane and Andre. We have some real technical powerhouses on the call today, so you'll hopefully get a nice blend of the CX AI, the why, the what, the how, what are the problems we're solving, what impact to industry, impact to agents, so those folks sitting at the desk for 8 hours a day, answering predominantly complaints or outbound calls. So how do we make their lives easy, and impacting managers? So all the fancy tools, etc., around managing effectively. And let's talk about it. Is the future scary or bright? So my favorite movie is not The Terminator, but I do love 80s movies, to date myself a little bit. So just to finish off there, a little personal, I'd say Karate Kid or Top Gun or Rocky, or one of those guys, where the good guys win in the end. Okay, let's talk topics. The first one is around the why. So why are we here today? I'll give a 1 minute quick elevator view on why Cloudwave went down this CXAI path. Now, my background is all unified communications. So I worked for some really big names, US, British, Danish and German IT or UC vendors, and I just saw some horrible contact center deliveries. And we all know them if we've been in the industry. Clunky tools, really expensive, really terrible integration. The CFO white in the face, the agent's frustrated, no integration, you can't get anything to work. So it really struck me back in 2013 that there's a better way to do this. And around that time, companies like AWS were coming out with a build versus buy concept. So this incredible foundational building blocks that allow companies like Cloudwave to iterate on top of and deliver all of the power under the hood with a low code and very easy professional services cookie cut and time to value. And that's why we're born. We're here to improve the lives of the users out there, my grandmother, my mother, who has to call these contact centers, and we want to give some really good experiences. We want to help the contact centers differentiate themselves. Andre, why has, in your mind, AWS ventured into this AI CX arena?
Well, it always works backwards from our customers, right? Our customers usually ask us for services and we do respond. So as you mentioned before, we've heard or our customers said that they need better call center software or services, right? And we did respond. Now, we don't stop only at responding what our customers need. We also raise the bar in terms of customer experience as well, right? So we integrated artificial intelligence into most of our services, or we do that as of now. So as you know, Amazon Connect right now integrates really well with Amazon Q Business, which brings additional support to the agents, to the managers supervising those agents, as well as to the customers, right? When an agent is able to support a customer and provide the needed information in a timely manner, not only he or she is able to answer more calls, but it's able to provide also a great customer experience. But in a nutshell, why AWS went into AI and customer experience, right? It's mostly because our customers have asked us to do that, and we responded.
Great, thank you very much. And obviously, it's worth mentioning one of the largest contact centers in the world, and highly efficient. Amazon.com itself, so the incredible retail giant using this technology day to day as well. Thank you, Andre. Dane, why do we use AI in CX, in your opinion?
Yeah, so I mean, from my perspective, I would classify that. I would say, generally speaking, contact centers have always been focused on the balance between efficiency and customer service, and balancing those two. That's both from a investments perspective, from a technology, but also from a workforce management perspective. So everything's always a balance between those two. So like any new technology, it can apply to help these sorts of situations. And in this case, AI can definitely help both the customer experience side of things in ways we'll talk about a little bit later on, but also the efficiency side of things. And it's worth mentioning, there's a bit of a trend, obviously, in contact centers. As time has gone on, things have always been wished to be automated, more has been automated. Self-serve IVR has been around for a long time. So consequently, agents, the conversations and the inquiries they have to deal with are more complex. So it means that there's not quite the same drive on reducing AHT or average handling time than there used to be, but it's still there and it's still super important, right? So the pressure is still there, so efficiency is key. So the question is then, how do we adapt? How do we provide, and in this case, how do we use AI to assist those agents for those high complexity, lower volumes inquiries to make them smooth and efficient? And many use cases on the IVR front, self-service, which we'll talk about later on.
we will definitely get into the meat of those use cases, because that is where the rubber hits the road, and that's kind of the exciting, super exciting elements of the future. On to part two. So the what. So what has Cloudwave done to solve in this CX AI world? So we walked into a tender in 2018 with all these incredible use cases built around Amazon Connect, and the customer's eyes glazed over, and it was all overwhelming, and we got turfed out, despite having by far the reddest, hottest technology in the market. What they were asking was, where is your desktop? Where is your reporting suite? Show me the tools. Now, how do I administer this? How does my team leader administer this incredible technology? And so NEONNOW was built. It is a well-architected review, a product on marketplace for many, many years now, solving thousands and thousands of agents, managers' lives, making them easier around the world. Tons of different vertical markets we cover, but it's all about putting the levers back in the hands of the business people of our customers. You do not need years or incredible budgets or doctorates in Amazon Connect technology. We have done all that heavy lifting, and this product puts that power into the hands of people, as well as this iterative process. So anything new out of Amazon, we surface Amazon Connect, which is every few weeks. Any API wrappers to allow just a much smoother, ongoing, the best of both worlds, a productized version of this incredibly powerful set of building blocks. Andre, AWS foundational CX and AI components that you could talk to? The what?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. When it comes to CX AI components, right? I think what AWS has done great is has created services that our partners can use to build, excellent solutions like Cloudwave is doing right now. And I'm going to talk a little bit about Amazon Bedrock. And in a nutshell, right, just for everyone here on the call, Amazon Bedrock, it's a marketplace of foundational models, right, where partners can select the foundational models from Anthropic or from Meta or from other foundational model providers, and they can immediately plug them into any application and automatically making it, powered by. So I do believe that AWS has created Bedrock in order to improve the customer experience. But also, we didn't stop there. Of course, we have another AI service called Comprehend, which does sentiment analysis. And this particular service, we've seen that it's very useful for contact centers, for e-commerce platforms like Amazon.com, right, where we can analyze the reaction, the responses of a customer or of a caller, and provide, a little bit more tailored responses towards, or a little bit more, let's say, the responses for a particular customer, depending on how they feel at any stage of the call, right? And we didn't stop there. Of course, we also modernized we also participate into what we call the modern workforce nowadays. So we have launched a couple of weeks Amazon Quick Suite, which is an agentic AI solution that allows you to automate a lot of your day-to-day tasks, from emails to responding emails to calendar, setting meetings, and also automating workflows that you might go through on a day-to-day basis.
Brilliant. And there's certainly some incredible engineering under the hood, undeniably, and also the resilience and the scale and the security guardrails are second to none in the AWS world. So thank you. Dane, have you got any comments around, the what behind the AI CX world?
Yeah, so really, AI has the capability to impact all the various sort of sub areas within a contact center, and as we know, contact centers are very complex. You've got, the resourcing side of things. You've got reporting. You've got, management, supervisory. You've got the IVRs. You've got the customer self-service, you've got digital channels, all these things occurring few. So the first one I wanted to touch on is IVRs. So obviously IVRs, traditional IVRs were DTMF driven. So key press IVRs, press 1 for sales, press 2 for support potentially. But I'm sure we've all seen or have seen in the past, very complex multi-layer menus. People get lost in them. They have to go back up a layer, cycle round, no entry, failure loops, all this sort of stuff. Most of those are, have been replaced, I would say. They still have their place, however, but for the most part, we've moved on. The market has moved on to more traditional open speech IVRs. So that was the next sort of wave, was an open speech IVR, initially on-prem, very expensive. Then it moved to the cloud, became much lower barrier to entry. We still, however, had static intents and utterances. So moving from a DTMF-driven, let's say 5 options, moving to a deterministic IVR built on, for example, Lex, there might be 5 intents. There might be 100 utterances against those intents. So the customer is saying, I want my account balance, please. And that matches to account balance intent. And then it goes and fires off an action to look up the customer account. That's, they have worked well, but really the recognition was always good, but not amazing. And there were some limitations. So what this brings us to is the new world of LLM-powered IVRs, or IVAs, as we sometimes call them. And really, they offer far, far better self-service capabilities if designed correctly. One of the reasons being because they offer a non-deterministic conversational AI. So it doesn't have to be a structured conversation, capture this data, fill a slot, do this, do that. The customer can ask it the same question in almost infinite number of ways and get to the same point, get to the same outcome. But also from a technology text-to-speech perspective, the text-to-speech engines have improved a hell of a lot, and also the speech recognition has also improved. Partly just the sheer data that these platforms are trained on means they're so much more worldly as well. So a good example of this is name recognition. So years ago, I worked on a platform, not that many years ago actually, text-to-speech. The system would read back the customer name, say, am I speaking to Mr. Smith, something like that. We weren't confident that the text-to-speech could actually confidently say all the customer names. Obviously, we live in a global world, various global names from different languages. Whereas nowadays, LLMs, both in terms of name recognition, but also text-to-speech, the other way around, are just much better because they're trained on so much more data. So you can confidently capture the customer's name. It'll read it back to a much higher degree of accuracy. The last two, just quickly, is CRM integration. CRM integration has always been key, but having AI in the loop just sort of cranks up the capabilities in that space. So rather than just do a simple data dip, you can do things like pass a whole customer history record to your CRM, or from your CRM, sorry, to an LLM to say, hey, why do you think this customer is calling? Pass that into the LLM, which I'll talk a little bit more later on about, and ultimately deliver a personalized experience to the caller. The last one from me is on the agent experience. Obviously, that's super key. And we'll touch on these a little bit later, but there's both AWS native features and then also using the wider AWS suite NEONNOW features. And we offer both of those within NEONNOW.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, and comprehensive as ever. All right, so moving into the how. So how do we do this from a Cloudway perspective first? This is all about hand-holding through an iterative process. So we are using these 12 odd years of deep niche within a niche expertise from all of the guys and ladies here. We'll start with a contact center readiness assessment. It's a very soft approach and requirements gathering. Then we'll start to look at a digital AI transformation roadmap, data democratization, how are we going to handle your data? People have it everywhere. Some people are really structured, some unstructured. Then we look at an operational review, align this to your AI strategy, because there's no point throwing an incredible powerhouse AI tool on top of poor operational or sort of unstructured operations. We need to get to the bottom of that. And then we look at now AI feature enrichment, and then a comprehensive analytics and reporting day. And we can do this through a day in the life of exercises, immersion days. Really, it's you can see why this is a a 12, 24-month service, because not only does it require some deep, business analysis and some really getting under the hood with the day-to-day operations, your goals, but also every few months things change. So there's a new LLM, there's a new way of managing, interpreting data, new interfaces, so new ecosystem players. So that's the way we treat it at CloudWave. It's a managed continuous improvement program. Andre, how does AWS help customers stay across, and receive access to all of these wonderful AI CX services?
Well, we do awareness campaigns, right? In terms of educating our customers and partners on what are the latest and the greatest developments. So we do that through various mediums like social media, webinars. We do a lot of trainings in our AWS offices across the world, where we have our main offices. So I think that we do an outreach to our customers to keep them updated. We do provide also on-demand trainings, right? Those can be online, can be in person as well through our partners. I do recommend everyone to explore the AI practitioner certification from AWS. It's an industry recognized certification, and it helped me tremendously to stay on top of the latest AI developments. And it's not only AWS services specific, but it gives you a better understanding of how the whole AI and generative AI ecosystem it's developing, right? And as I was mentioning, we do have a lot of events, right? Now in December, 1st of December, we will be our reInvent will happen, right? Where we have tens of thousands of customers and partners attending. There's going to be tons of new announcements. So I do recommend everyone that's in the United States or has the opportunity to go to Vegas to attend reInvent. If not, stay tuned for the latest announcements that will appear into our blogs and on the page What's New on AWS.
Can I just weigh in on that quickly? I've been to reInvent for the last.
Please do.
And Andre is being very modest about this and really not giving it the grandiose scale. This thing is 70,000 people descending across 5 hotels. There are daily, all-day deep dive technical seminars. There's Matt Garman talking about the vision of AWS. There's all sorts of breakout rooms on various technologies. There's nighttime activities. If you are not going there, please register. Jump in now. We also have an added bonus. Rob Killery is our USA Managing Director. He's ex-AWS. He's been in contact centers even longer than me and is the godfather of CX. And follow that QR code, book a half an hour with him. It's no obligations, chat just about AI strategy, anything at all, where we see things going, various tools. He's got an incredible, beautiful mind to expand on any potential requests you might have. So that's reInvent, and you have to. It's one of those bucket list things you've got to get to. Moving on, Dane, how do you feel we take some of this, the how, this boardroom hype, which is kind of everywhere, take that into reality from a technical perspective around AI and CX?
Yeah, sure. So one element to it is that it has to be right-sized for the solution that you're trying to solve, and taking the right approach in terms of human escalation. So for the vast majority of IVRs, there's going to be a situation where the call needs to hand off to a human for escalation. Maybe that's an edge case, maybe it's something's too complex for the voice IVR to handle. There's always going to be those use cases. When you hand off to the human for escalation, to the agent for escalation, how do you hand it off? Do you just dump it in a queue? We've all had experiences where you're in a web chatbot, as an example, you ask some questions of the chatbot, it sort of helps, but then it might get to the end of its knowledge and then it hands over to an agent and then you're having to explain yourself again. So providing the key context of the conversation with the with the voice bot is key to the agent, summaries, using AI to provide summaries of the conversation thus far, and also using AI to provide summaries of why the call was escalated so that the agent, when they receive that call, not just they know it's a query about accounts, who the customer name is, but what the customer has been doing in the IVR thus far. And from a sort of technical perspective, Andre's mentioned Bedrock. So we use Bedrock within CloudWave for our application side of things. So we do a lot with AI, run local models, use ChatGPT, Copilot, etc. But Bedrock agents for our application side. And one of the key reasons is the LLM lifecycle that the guys have mentioned already, in terms of LLMs are constantly coming out with newer, more powerful versions. And when you build an application powered by an LLM, you can't just look at it and say, here's my application, it's powered by LLM X, because a new one will come out, which is going to be slightly better. So Bedrock agents allow you to switch that out and it'll sort of abstract it away from your application. And probably the last thing to just mention is what we call our sort of QA framework around LLMs. So whether the bot is being deployed for a QA, a contact center QA use case, or an IVR use case, it's not just about deploying the LLM, deploying the agent. It's about what's the pipeline for that deployment. Treat it as infrastructure as code, just like you would with anything else. Make sure you've got regression testing, ongoing regression testing, bot-to-bot testing. How do you test a non-deterministic IVR? To which the answer is usually with non-deterministic bots as well. So there's a whole world of discovery there on that, and benefit, and monitoring and feedback loops. So if you've got a feature out there, how are agents using it? Know how they're using it. Know when it's providing value. Know when it's not providing value. And of course, security and privacy is key, which I think we'll touch on a bit later on.
Brilliant. So we're kind of halfway through, and we've got a couple more very interesting areas to dive into. Firstly, solving problems. So how are we doing this? Firstly, in the CloudWave world, well, it's all about kind of drinking our own champagne. With us and the very smart guys across our labs and engineering and innovation teams have built out internal agent assistants that we are using and deploying and testing in our internal ecosystem thoroughly. And that means all the LLMs out in the market, making sure we've got latency, you've got different data sources have different knock-on effects for latency and customer experience, getting to unraveling all of those speed humps and ironing them all out, ready for production for our customers. So tried and tested. A couple of things we're using, we've just deployed our support agent. So just first level, really friendly, natural language, Southern lady's voice. She also speaks 70 languages. If you were to ask her, say bonjour, she'll cut into French. Just a very, very cool use of the technology. Catch and pass only, assesses the level of severity, mobilizes smart guys as needed, and just a really cool use of the technology. We also got some, assistants helping us build, capture requirements, even product management, and with our security and ISO compliance. So a bot that will help us manage and stay on top of all the artifacts required for that, which is a big undertaking. But this is agentic AI at its best. We are pushing the very, very edge of what it can do, so that we make sure we've got really strong wisdom and use cases verified to pass on to our wonderful clients. Andre, what problems is AWS looking to solve with this fantastic tech?
What to do is also, apart from solving, we're trying to empower also our partners and customers, right, to build upon our services, right? And maybe I can give you a couple of examples of problems, day-to-day problems that our partners using AWS services have managed to solve. And one that's particularly close to my heart that came out of a hackathon that I organized a couple of months ago was that one of our partners has built an AI agent that rebooks an entire trip or entire vacation once your flights get canceled. So imagine the stress, the anxiety that you get once your flights get canceled for whatever reason. Can be weather, can be malfunctioning. And the beauty of this agent is that it's able to tap into information like weather, as I mentioned, updates that come from the airline, and then in real time or even proactively, it can give you certain suggestions of how to replan your trip, and it actually helps you to redo the entire itinerary, as well as book all the flights and the new accommodations that you might need. So it takes a lot of the stress on critical situations like rebooking flights. Personally, for me, that I travel a lot across Asia Pacific and Japan, this is something really, really useful that I plan to use. But on a day-to-day basis, right? We see a lot of applications that we use. For example, I was using a marketplace application that we have here in Singapore, where I live, using intelligent document processing, right? So, for example, you can upload, you want to sell a certain item that you have used for several years, and you want to sell it to a marketplace to give it a new home. You just upload a couple of pictures and the description. It analyzes the item, if it's new, if it's slightly used. So it does a lot of the menial tasks that I personally don't enjoy doing, right? Writing descriptions and so. So we do see that in terms of what we are solving, it's more of taking away or making those little tasks that we don't like to do, or menial tasks on a day-to-day basis. We're making them disappear, right? So we can focus on the cool stuff, on the great stuff, on the better stuff, on the things that we do enjoy on a day-to-day basis. But we also see a lot of we see AWS helping developers and the developer community, right? So we recently announced general availability of Kiro, which is a tool that allows you to vibe code, if I may say, right? Because it's a term used by everyone. But we also have Amazon Q Developer that can be your coding assistant that can integrate into any development tool that you might have installed on your laptop, and so on. So just to summarize it, I would say that AI and generative AI in general right now are helping us in making our lives a little bit easier. Removing all those monotonous, mundane tasks that we don't like, and just giving us a little bit more time back.
Perfect. Yeah, well said. Dane, what CX problems are you seeing that we can look to solve?
In the interest of time, I'll just give one example. So key area is around knowledge bases and training. So in the contact center, obviously agents are coming and going. Training is a massive investment and an ongoing activity that occurs. So how do you increase or decrease your time to value for those agents? And then once the agents are up to speed, once they perhaps don't need as much assistance, how do you then break off those training wheels? So we see a lot of use here for the likes of Amazon Q for Connect, NEONNOW IQ features, I think, which Mike will talk to shortly, Amazon Connect step-by-step guides. All these features can be used to provide agents with training real time, so that, yes, they still go through some training, obviously, but once they're live and they start receiving interactions, they've got very specific help and guidance that guides them for those specific edge cases or whatnot, and that's all driven by knowledge bases. It's all customizable, etc., etc.
Yeah, brilliant. And we could have an entire 2-day webinar on just this one question. So hit us up for more, and we can take it offline. Number 5, impact to industries. So what are we seeing? This is, I think, the time for me to mention that vigilance and responsibility is kind of key to what we do, what we need to do. So these hyperscaler, some of these young guys building out various LLMs are running head first into the fire and creating some incredible technology. And there's an arms race, various countries and whatnot. But it is companies like Cloudwave's responsibility to ensure that AI is not causing harm, is not imposing a higher risk. Okay, and how do we do that? It's a mix of consulting expertise and technical tools. Okay, so it's frameworks, security best practice, documentation, monitoring, review, test, retest. You get the point. So this is where organizations like us, and there are others out there, who are the catch-all and the stopgap, and to ensure that you as a business is protected and is using this in the right way. Your data is secure, and we aren't publishing our internal documents. We aren't opening this portal into your key IP or other personal items. So the vibe coding, yes, is powerful for a simple website, and yes, I built a soccer coaching app using it. Very impressive. I was very happy with myself, but it is not fit for purpose for an enterprise grade product by any stretch of the imagination yet. So happy to help and talk further, as I said, after this. Andre, how does AWS mitigate this AI risk and ensure our industries and general users thrive in a safe manner?
Condense my answer, right, in the interest of time. So there will be 2 points that I want to address, right? Education. So we do educate our customers to be aware of what kind of data are feeding into these LLMs, right? Or what kind of data are they feeding into their AI systems and applications, right? So data classification is important, and I do a lot of education around that with my partners and customers, right? And I encourage everyone to look into their data, their organization's data, do a proper classification, and start incrementally. Don't feed everything in at once. But of course, this is a soft approach, so education can get you that further. But we also have guardrails, a lot of guardrails implemented into our services to help our partners and customers to avoid unpleasant situations that potentially can occur, but can be avoided by implementing safety guardrails around these AI services. So just to answer, a two-pronged approach: education around data and data classification, and of course we have the hard approach where we implement guardrails into our services that customers and partners can have within their applications.
Thanks, mate. Brilliant. And Dane, what are your thoughts on this impact to the CX industry?
So just, I guess, to cover some of that again in terms of responsibility from our perspective as a SaaS provider, we have a responsibility for our customers' data, and we had a choice a while ago when we started using Bedrock. Do we run Bedrock? Do we run LLMs in our accounts? Which there is some benefit to that. For us, it would have been easier, but we decided to run it in the customer's account and orchestrate that, because ultimately it means the customer's data, whether it be the knowledge bases and just the actual LLM itself, is running with the customer. They have control over it. We are seeing new legislation arriving, and presumably this is going to be seen more and more around the world, but the EU Artificial Intelligence Act is out and is coming into play, I believe, in the next sort of year or so. So that's going to be key for organizations deploying this, to understand how does it impact them, where is my data, how's it being used, am I protected, am I using AI opt-outs, all those sorts of things. The other side to all of this is though, there will be new efficiencies or new realities of efficiencies. So if new tooling is deployed to those contact center agents, they've got all this new tooling available to them to answer these complex inquiries, then yes, they will be far more efficient and be able to be onboarded sooner.
Brilliant, mate. Thank you. Number 6, impact to agents is probably my favorite section. I was a contact center agent for a few years early on in my career, and it was a wild ride. There is certainly some idiosyncrasies for these great folks that do this day in, day out. As you walk in and you walk around a contact center, you'll see people personalizing their desktop with their football, memorabilia, their pictures of New Year's Eve in Hawaii, they've got their kids' photos up, their cat. So there's this personalization of their environment that they like to do because they're answering questions and complaints, all day, every day. So how do we make their life easier? Look, it's really just about, surfacing the right data at the right time. And in the AI, new world of AI, really the way we see it is AI plus the human is stronger than AI or the human individually. So it's a fantastic marriage, and really it's all about making your agent superhuman. So that's what we've done. We're going to flash up 3 examples out of about 12 new features that we've released in Neon Now. IQ Evaluate, because it's inconsistent or poorly written comms creates confusion, escalates claims, it damages trust. Evaluate ensures that you've got professional, empathetic, compliant text every time. So fantastic for training people, time to value of new agents, etc. Churn is a big issue in a contact center. Next, suggest voice. So suggestions, we have this across multi-channel also, but voice is quite cool. Real-time whispering. We all know voice calls are high stress. This ensures they've got accuracy, compliance, and empathy in the moment. So again, just giving an agent super that they can choose to use or put into effect to ensure that the business is completely compliant or guaranteed around a certain tone they want to give. Lastly is this augmented bot chat, which is the human and the bot working in harmony, or a virtual assistant. And this allows the human to be looking at, say, 4, 5, 6 chat windows at once. The assistant agent is drafting everything, and if the human detects that there's some issue, if someone's getting frustrated, there's somebody at the side of the road needing emergency help, then that's where a human steps in and deploys the right appropriate levels of empathy that our agent assistant friends cannot do. And that, I would imagine, is going to stand the test of time for a long time yet with humans, especially in the older demographic. There's nothing that has yet replaced human empathy. Andre, what would you call the AWS elements that align to improve agent experience using AI?
You mentioned it at the beginning, right? One was scalability, right? And seeing what you have presented just now, all the capabilities that Cloudwave brings to the agents, right? I think the agents will be allowed to do more, right? More at scale. One agent will be able to do much more. They will have bandwidth for more customers, for more calls, right? But also they will be able to attend them faster. So there will be 2 elements here that will be addressed, would be a scalability and speed, right? Which AWS is very famous for, right? So that would be those the 2 things that I think would be addressed here.
Excellent. Dane, what's your view technically around the improvement to agent experience?
Yeah, I mean, without covering the same topics, I'll probably go on to a slightly different tangent, which is around the transparency of the interactions. So from a contact center agent perspective, certain maybe only 10% of certain interactions get QA'd. That's likely to rise, right? Now that it's moving towards automation, rather than a supervisor going in and looking at 1 in 100, 1 in 10 type interactions and reviewing them, doing a evaluation against them, it's likely that's going to move towards potentially 100%, right? So conversations that need extra care will be found, and also training, positive and negative, is going to be there more so than it was before, because prior it was just the supervisor cherry picking 1 or 2 type interactions.
Yeah, very cool. And again, we could do a whole day on this stuff, but diving for a second into the managers, so the team leaders, the admins, those folks that are burdened with the task of creating this symphony within and being the conductor and having to deal with a whole lot of personalities in the contact center, the attrition rates, the various reporting that needs to be done meticulously for senior management and the board. How do we help these folks? Again, two quick slides on this one, just around a couple of key features. And we like to call it contact attribute smart triggers. So these are predefined but AI enforced symphony of events that are initiated based on various day-to-day activities. So what do I mean by that? It's really that the AI should be context aware. So, summarize, for example, kicks in automatically for long calls to save wrap-up time, or maybe multi-channel, you switch tone going from chat to SMS, or even another one for email, and they are different tones across different channels. So small examples, but incredibly powerful, and these are automatic triggers that are set up by the manager to create this symphony. Final slide, you couldn't get away with a contact center briefing without a whole lot of flashy reporting tools and analytics, and that's obviously in spades, always has been within the Amazon Connect and NEONNOW world. It is the foundation for a whole lot of the way the KPIs are driven and the way QA is handled and how you train agents. But in this new world, how the hell do you know if the AI is working? So you can set this up. We give you that ability. So utilizing IQ analytics, you'll be able to have a dashboard that shows, for example, 40% of your calls have been deflected to AI, and then 36% of those were on a Tuesday morning, 3% Wednesday, and of that, 40% of them were successful and handled first-time resolution. So you need to know once you put in this technology that it's actually working, and we give you those tools. Sentiment tracking, supervisors coaching agents using trends and other data. You need to know what's going on to be able to affect your job as a manager. Andre, what's AWS doing to assist managers in this space?
Well, as you mentioned, right, we have the analytics dashboards. We have, more access to the information. We have information is ready available for us under a single glass pane, right? And I think from an AWS perspective, what we're trying to do for managers here is to actually expand their visibility across an entire operation, right? With better visibility and understanding of what's happening on the ground, they will be able to make better informed decisions. They will be able to coach agents. They will be able to improve inefficiencies in call center. Right. So I think, and just to summarize it in one word, it's expanded visibility across an entire operation.
Perfect. And I think that's the game changer really across all of these, all the Gartner quadrant. Why Amazon Connect now is up the top there, top right, is the way we handle the data. So this data lake, not just contact center services, but outside, HR tools, health records, security, how many times people swiping the security pass at the front, connections into logistics so you can see where the package is and be proactive. This access to data and the way it's represented is just an absolute, new world. And
it's a game changer.
From the front. Yeah, it's very, very cool. Dane, could you round out our sort of management assistance?
Yeah, I mean, we've leaned into QuickSight very hard, or QuickSuite as it's now called, which is the BI platform within AWS. So within Neon, we have a out-of-the-box data warehouse or data lake, as well as a UI layer, and you get 20 reports out of the box. And for most contact centers, that probably will give you what you need. But then, of course, you have the ability to customize and take it to the next level and report on very specific things that you need to for your specific use case. And then overlaying that with QuickSuite Q, which then gives you the ability, or a supervisor or manager, the ability to do natural language queries. So there is still some time required to train up a user to use QuickSight. It's relatively easy. It's drag and drop if all the data is there. But again, having a question answer, natural language type UI to that data just makes it more available to more people. So more decisions, more insights, those sorts of things.
Yeah, awesome. Very cool. Okay, and we've got 11 minutes left. We have to talk about this because it's around the pub, as we call it in Australia, or the Christmas table or a dinner table with many of folk right now. And is this future scary or bright? My personal view is no one has a crystal ball, right? So everyone's got wild views, and yes, we've seen movies and all sorts of incredible LinkedIn examples and of what's available. And natural language is getting pretty good. So it is getting pretty good. Deep fake stuff is getting pretty good. But, and I would like to adopt the glass half full approach and look for the wins. And I've been in technology all my life, and technology is an enabler, and it really has changed our society, largely for the better, around, making life easier and access to medical, and, this is no different. So provided, though, there's this best practice consulting, design, architecture, fail-safes, support measures in place, this is one of the most pivotal moments in IT history. So I would love to say have fun, test, play safely, embrace the change. We've been here, many more times before. The future is bright. Our hyperscaler friends are going to continue boldly pushing forward. But companies like Cloudwave have a moral responsibility to deploy AI safely. And we really enjoy and look forward to making the world a better place with this really cool technology. So, Andre, what have you got to say around this topic?
Yeah, I think we talked last week when I was in Sydney, right? And my belief is that certain tasks within certain functions, right, will disappear, right? Certain little tasks, menial tasks, as I mentioned earlier on, right? And I just want to share a particular example, not about AI, but something that happened when I was younger, when the computer started. I'm not that young anymore. So when the computer started to be more prominent in day-to-day usage of our homes, right? And I remember that my mom had a little corner shop. I'm from Romania, so we had a little corner shop. And she used to do the accounting. And the accounting used to be done on paper pads with the pen. And if you made a mistake, you had to go through the entire calculations and you have to go through the entire ledger and redo the calculations. And I saw her really, really frustrated multiple times and wasting 3 to 4 hours just redoing, just correcting one single mistake. Right now, when computers started appearing and Excel came into picture, right, many years ago, she moved her entire work into Excel, and a mistake wasn't that catastrophic anymore, right? It allowed her to spend more time doing what she really, really liked, being in front of customers, talking to customers, because that's what she likes, instead of spending time in front of a pad doing numbers and crunching numbers, right? So I do believe that the future is bright. That's my opinion. Certain things, menial things for us would be eliminated, right? Which allows us to do the things that we enjoy more. Whether it is, building a new application. Some of us are really passionate about coding. Maybe spending more time fishing. I do like fishing as well. So I do believe that the future is bright, and we'll be able to focus on something that's more meaningful for us, that will bring us much more joy, and AI will take care of the mundane tasks.
Very nice, and a very, very, very good personal story. Just before I throw to Dane to round us out, guys, please post any questions in the QA section at the top there. Type it in, tap it in, and we'll jump on those in the next couple of minutes after Dane's given us his view on bright or scary future. Dane?
So yeah, I'm optimistic on the whole about where the industry is going. I do think we need to make sure we cut through the hype and understand what's real and what's not real, and to that point, understand where LLMs fit into this world, and understand what they do very well and what they don't do very well. So they're not the silver bullet. They're not going to solve every single problem in the world, but they are an amazing new piece of technology that will definitely find its place and will slot in logically with all the other technology that we have available.
Beautiful, mate. And thank you both very, very much. Some great pearls of wisdom in a very short time. So we boiled down what we could, but As I said, super open to these conversations. You've got Rob at reInvent, you've got us offline. A few questions from the crowd. Mr. Paul O'Connell. So I've noticed with a lot of smaller companies, when you have a question, they direct you to email queries as opposed to a phone call center, which I find in most cases not a great experience. Have you noticed this trend at all? Who wants to have a go at that one?
Haven't seen, customer support being done by email. Very, very rarely, right? I don't see it as a main trend. I do see a lot of chatbots nowadays, so I do interact with a lot of chatbots, right? I see that as a trend. And now we see a lot of agentic chatbots, right, that are allowed to have access to, deep levels of information about a certain transaction, about a certain purchase. Email, not so much. To be honest, I didn't experience, and the partners and customers that I work with, they do shy away from that. They want something more personal, something more interactive, something more dynamic. And it reflects in customer retention as well, right? I feel that providing a better support experience, faster support experience can be done by chat. Email, not so much.
I hear you. I have seen it myself. I know what you mean, Paul. I think, like Andre's saying, the engagement level is going to be pretty low. It's kind of like an email customer sat score. It's a pretty low way of engaging. On that note, slightly different tact, what we found, the number one engagement source still channel is SMS. So people thought to write it off in the past, but I think because, not everybody's got a smartphone, maybe because it translates to any age group, demographic, works internationally. So SMS is still pretty alive and well. Maybe not for support, although, for escalations, you want to wake up the CIO, it's not a bad way to go. But SMS is seeing as quite a lively channel still, which is somewhat surprising because it's been all around for a long time. Okay, one other questions. What are some of the challenges you've seen with deploying this new technology? Maybe Dane, you got your hands dirty on multiple occasions.
Yeah, so I mean we've definitely covered some of them, but we can maybe go into a little more detail. So obviously the LLM lifecycle. So the LLMs are always coming out with new versions. So making sure when doesn't matter what the solution is, but you're building an application to solve an outcome using an LLM, make sure that you from the get-go are building that model lifecycle into it. Another one would be the prompting. So people are probably aware of the art and somewhat science within crafting LLM solution is the prompting. How do you instruct the LLM to do the certain thing that you want it to do, but not go and do 3 or 4 other things that you don't want it to do? So being very careful about the prompting and knowing when to whitelist and blacklist things. And what I mean by that is if you instruct the LLM agent, you are an agent that does this thing, then you get some feedback that it's starting to give some advice about topics you don't like. You start blacklisting those, and it's like whack-a-mole. So oftentimes you're better to whitelist what you specifically wanted to talk about. Don't give general advice. Don't act like ChatGPT. You're not a general counsel here. You're just providing a very structured type response to a very specific problem.
If I may add, the challenges that I've seen with the customers and partners that I work with, I think it's before we go into implementing the technology and all, and I'm going to harp on this, it's data, right? Understanding their data, classifying your data. I think that is something that a lot of customers and partners that want to embark in this AI journey, they need to do that. And understanding and making sense of your own data sometimes presents its own challenges. And I think for me, this is probably the most challenging part, making a partner or a customer understand that they need to classify and understand their data and manage their data properly before embarking into this AI journey.
Yeah, it's very, very true, mate. Very true. We've got 1 minute left. I'll handle it. It's one question. What's your billing model? I'll handle it. We're direct, or all of our products and services are on AWS Marketplace. So everything from professional services, AI enablement, quick starts, really low cost of entry, quick starts to get you up and firing. The other thing worth mentioning is AWS are incredibly generous with MAP funding and funding around running, tests or any sort of, try before you buy type stuff. So contact us around the funding. That takes. We've got plenty of guys who are black belts at working through the funding. AWS love it because it helps, inspire and give all these fantastic creative ideas, and no doubt usually the customer jumps on the platform. So AWS Marketplace, search CloudWave Neon now. We're right on to 2 p.m. Australian time. I think that's it for today, guys. We'll get back to the busy day. Thank you so much, Andre. Brilliant, just fantastic support as always, Dane. Unbelievably talented, and thank you, and humble, and we love working with you. Thanks, guys, for listening, and look forward to the next one.
Everyone.
Yep. Thanks, everyone.
Guys.